Today, I'm having a virtual tea rather than a virtual coffee with Monique Caissie. Now, you might see her name and think Frenchified, it's Monique Caissie, like I did, but it isn't. It's Monique, rhymes with stick, and Caissie, like Casey at the back.
That's right.
I'm going to tell you a little bit about Monique today, and then I'm going to let her take it away. She's in the business of helping people have better conversations with a very interesting group. She's in the business of helping people have better conversations with those who drive them crazy. So if you have none of those in your life, we're going to give you a minute to go, and we're going to talk to the people who do have people who drive them crazy in their lives. I think maybe you're all still on. Monique draws from 30 years as a crisis interventionist and has a specialization in human relations. In addition, she's a certified human behavior consultant as an accredited trainer for DISC, which, as we all know, many, many businesses use. She loves empowering people to have more positive outcomes by drawing from their strengths, and she gives them tools that they may be missing, even just to start conversations. So I'm going to ask you a question and then take it away.
Okay.
How do you deliver your services and where do you do it?
Okay, so when I'm delivering my speaking services, because I'm a speaker and a trainer and a facilitator, I do that strictly in Canada right now, or I'm willing to go overseas if somebody wants to send me there. I haven't crossed over into the United States at this point, and I'm sort of waiting to see because the border issue seems to be a little bit of a hot topic. So I'm not going to start crossing the border at this point. So I'm sticking to Canada for my speaking, training, and facilitating. Of course, if somebody says, no, we can bring you in and we'll make it easy for you to cross the border, I'd be happy to have a conversation. And I do that. You said, where do I do it? What was the other thing? What do I do? Oh yeah. So I speak, I train, I can do like a facilitated conversation with a group, or I come in with a specific topic to cover.
What are some of your topics?
The topics that, the ones that I've developed are the Ask for What You Want program, which is where I teach people how to identify their boundaries and when their boundaries are being crossed. And then I give them a 4-step process on how to make the request for what behavior change they're looking for in the person. So whether it is an employee who's coming in late or taking advantage of the company, or if it's an employer, a boss, or a colleague, I teach people how to have those conversations, even if they've been avoiding them. Because one of the challenges is I've noticed that people who are avoiding is because, number one, they're not sure if they're entitled to ask for this. And the second one is that they don't know how to start the conversation. So I help them, I give them the tools so that they're able to start that conversation. Then once the conversation starts, then they can navigate around it with this specific tool that I've developed.
So when you say you help people start conversations, as I said in your introduction, you typically mean how to start difficult conversations.
Yeah, it's really for, it's we don't know how to start the conversation without sounding angry or sounding scared or whatever. So I give people the how-to. I often refer to it like when you go to IKEA to build a shelf, it gives you the instructions. I give you the instructions on what the structure of that conversation is to have it so that you can actually start getting what you want much better and start having better outcomes. It also gives us an opportunity to really deepen the relationships with the people that we've actually been avoiding, because they can't give us what we want if we don't give them the data they need. So having this structure really elevates the respect, the civility, and just the depth of the relationships that we're having with people.
It's a wonderful service that you provide, because my experience in the marketplace is that people either avoid them altogether, as you were saying, or when they have to do them, when they're pressed, they do them badly.
Oh yeah, they do them badly because they're so upset. As soon as we get into our stress response, and that's what I try to get people to be aware. If we're in our fight, flight, or freeze response, and the other one is feign, which is where we pretend to be like we're agreeing, but we're not. And so it's really to get really authentic and real, but it gives us permission to do that when we have that tool. So that's the thing that I've developed. And the other thing that I do that's mine alone is if somebody says to me, different, like I call tackling the taboo topics, which is so all the things that people don't normally talk about, which might be mental health or suicide or anything like that. If a company or an organization in the HR department is having difficulty navigating those really difficult things where a crisis may have occurred, I'm a good person to bring in to say, okay, well, let's figure out what it is that your company needs. What is your culture? What is your outcome? And to help them come to maybe some protocols that they need to put into place, even if it's just to destigmatize mental illness, so that when people have taken a stress leave, how do we integrate them back into the workplace? I mean, people seem to know what to do when someone's gone on a cancer leave, but they don't know what to do if they went on a burnout, how to reintegrate them. So I can come in and I can help people design something that makes a lot of sense so that they can reintegrate and be healthy and productive and just remain that way.
So you speak in front of groups?
I do. I can do a keynote or a training session. Mm-hmm.
Keynotes, trainings, workshops. You
Right.
can be brought in to companies or organizations as a consultant.
As a consultant.
If I'm not wrong, I think you do private coaching as well, don't you?
Yeah, I'm a certified coach. I do NLP, which is neuro-linguistic programming, and I also use my DISC certification. So in my one-on-one coaching, I really help people tackle the ones that are really pertinent to themselves and not necessarily to an organization. And I also do DISC in the group work as well, whether it's for an audience or for training as a workshop. Mm-hmm.
So if people bring you in as a private coach,
Mm-hmm.
what kind of problems do you solve? I know that you help people have difficult conversations. So if you want to tell me what kind of outcomes, good outcomes of those are, and what other problems do you help people solve?
Yeah, I help people have better conversations, not difficult ones. So yeah, I have better conversations with difficult people, and the people that have come to me, it's interesting because they'll often come to me for something in particular. Like I had this one woman, she was an engineer and very high ranking in her position, and she came to me to say that she was having a terrible time with her boss, which was true, and we ended up dealing with everything under the sun, from how to handle her teenagers, and she worried about that she drank too much. Was she perhaps an alcoholic? There was alcoholism in her family. So people come to me, but when we get into the private coaching, I mean, people will come to me usually for work, and then we're talking about their marriage. I even helped one woman have a better sex life. That's just the way I roll.
Advertise that. Monique helps people have better sex lives.
You bet. Whatever you need. We can't have a great sex life if we won't ask what we want, right? So I was able to help this woman just have better conversations with her husband, because I do have a background a little bit in some marriage work. It's relationship, right? So I was able to help that. And I do have my degree from university includes all levels of family life, including our sexuality. So it just worked out.
One-stop shopping with
kind of, yeah. When it comes to you can pretty much bring it to me, and if I don't have it, I'll know someone who's got it. Yeah.
So people these days can get in touch with you at your LinkedIn page, which is your name, and that is, I'm going to spell it for people, Monique, and your last name, which is Caissie, but it's spelled Caissie. And that's where you'd prefer for people to reach you. They can see your training, they can see what you do, they can connect with you, send you a message, have a conversation with you. And I think you mentioned that you have a four-step program for asking for what you want. And I think you actually have a cheat sheet that you'd be willing to send people.
Absolutely. And right now, I'm unfortunately in the process of changing suppliers. So if you send it to me right away, it doesn't matter. That's the one that's going to go out. But if you send me an email, I'll link you to the correct one in case it's not happening today and your listener is only listening in like a week or two. It might be a different supplier, but it's called the Ask Her What You Want cheat sheet, and it's basically a 4-step process that starts the conversation, and it's super easy. And I give you instructions on what not to say, what to say, how to set it up, and it's just one sheet. It's like magical. It's like you can fold it up, put it in your pocket, read it just before you're about to talk to somebody. It's super easy.
Whether you want a raise or a better sex life.
Yes. Or both, depending on your relationship.
Well, it is always a pleasure to talk to you. I learned more about you.
Same here.
When we talk. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Jan. You take care of yourself. Bye, everyone. Thank you.
Bye-bye.